He was born to lead, the golden son of Canada's most powerful political family. Justin Trudeau carried the legacy of a father who shaped a nation, Pierre Trudeau, and a mother, Margaret, whose own bloodline traced back to political power in 1800s Louisiana. The Trudeaus weren't just born into power, they were built for it. But shadow has always followed their light. Broken marriages, public breakdowns, a son lost to an avalanche. And now, Justin Trudeau's own picture-perfect family has collapsed in front of the entire world. What is it about this family that turns power into pain? Why do the Trudeaus rise so high, only to fall so hard? And could all these tragedies really be a coincidence, or is the family cursed? Let's find out more on Empire Elegance. The year was 1971, and Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, already a man of immense power and intrigue, shocked the world when he married a bright, carefree 22-year-old named Margaret Sinclair. Pierre was 29 years older than Margaret. He carried gray in his hair and the weight of a nation on his shoulders. Margaret. She was all light and dreams, a self-declared flower child from the wild, free-spirited 1960s. She loved poetry, dancing, and peace signs. She wanted to live in the moment, while he lived under the relentless pressure of Parliament. The two seemed like opposites, but for a moment, the match felt magical. They married in a surprise ceremony in Vancouver, and soon after, they had 3 sons: Justin, Alexandre, called Sacha, and Michel. The Trudeaus looked like Canada's royal family, but behind the smiles and photo shoots, their home life was crumbling. Margaret struggled deeply with the pressures of being the wife of a prime minister. The official dinners, the bodyguards, the endless public attention, it felt like a cage. She wanted to dance barefoot in the grass. He wanted to run a country. Their dreams did not match. And as time went on, Margaret's happiness slipped away. She didn't just feel sad, she felt lost. Though she didn't know it yet, she was battling bipolar disorder. Her moods would swing high and low, and without treatment, her pain grew louder. Soon she began leaving home, first emotionally, then physically. She was seen partying at Studio 54 in New York, dancing with rock stars and movie icons, while Pierre Trudeau was home with their boys. She became a headline maker, a media storm. She shared shocking stories in magazines, wrote wild books, and became one of the most talked about women in North America. The marriage could not survive. In 1977, they officially separated. Pierre kept custody of the boys, while Margaret tried to figure out who she really was outside of the spotlight. She said, "I am a free spirit that must survive in a free world." The world watched. Some people saw her as a hero of women's independence. Others called her selfish, but no one looked away. The divorce became final in 1984. Pierre stayed in politics for a while longer, raising his sons in Montreal. Margaret remarried and moved on, though pain followed her like a shadow. Her emotional struggles remained, and she later admitted that for many years, she had been silently suffering. But even the darkest stories can grow darker still. Michel Trudeau, the youngest of the Trudeau sons, was different. While his older brother Justin showed signs of being a leader, and Sacha preferred life behind the scenes, Michel was full of adventure. He was funny, warm, and curious about the natural world. His friends called him Mike. His childhood nickname, given by none other than Fidel Castro during a visit to Cuba, was Miche. He didn't carry himself like a politician's son. He was more like a young explorer. Michel studied microbiology and had dreams of science and discovery. But after school, he took time off to work at a ski resort in British Columbia. He loved the mountains, the clean air, and the feeling of being far from the city. He had found peace in the snow until the snow turned deadly. On November 13, 1998, Michel, just 23 years old, went on a backcountry skiing trip with 3 friends in Kokanee Glacier Park. It was the kind of place that could take your breath away. Tall cliffs, icy lakes, and deep powder trails, but it was also dangerous. That afternoon, An avalanche broke free from the mountain. It came roaring down, a wall of snow and ice that swallowed everything in its path. Michel was separated from his group. The others were rescued by helicopter. Michel was gone, swept off the trail, and believed to have been pulled into Kokanee Lake. His dog, Makwa, was found alive. Michel was not. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police tried everything. They sent divers into the freezing lake, but the water was too deep, almost 300 feet at the center. The ice was closing in. Days later, they had to call off the search. Sacha Trudeau helped make the heartbreaking decision. "No one else should be put in danger," he said. Michel's body was never recovered. The Trudeau family held a private memorial in Montreal. Pierre, frail but strong, read from the Bible. Justin and Sacha spoke of their little brother with love and tears. The loss felt like a hole punched through the heart of the family. For Margaret, who had already lived through so much, the pain was unbearable. Michel had been her baby. The avalanche didn't just take her son, it pulled her even deeper into grief. After that, the idea of a Trudeau family curse began to take root in whispers. People looked at their lives, so full of fame, fortune, and promise, and saw how easily those gifts slipped into sorrow. A glamorous marriage that ended in heartbreak, a son lost to the mountains, a family always in the public eye, carrying private wounds. Like the Kennedys in America, the Trudeaus had everything, and still, it wasn't enough to stop the shadows. Their story had wealth, beauty, and power, yes, but it also had tragedy that seemed to return, again and again, like the long winters of the Canadian wilderness. So, what happens when the next Trudeau steps into the spotlight, carrying both the name and the weight of his family's past? Justin Trudeau, the bright-eyed son who once stood quietly beside his grieving father at Michel's memorial, grew up into Canada's most recognizable leader. In 2015, he became Prime Minister, promising hope, diversity, and change. He had charm, a famous name, and a picture-perfect family. Beside him stood Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, his wife, his best friend, his partner in speeches and smiles. They looked like a modern royal couple, even gracing the cover of Vogue. In that glowing article, Justin told the world, "I've been waiting for you for 31 years." Their story was romantic, real, but fairy tales, especially in the Trudeau family, rarely last. How does a marriage that once seemed unbreakable begin to fall apart? They met in Montreal when Sophie was just a girl. She had been classmates with Michel, Justin's younger brother. Years later, they reconnected as adults. Sophie, now a television reporter, and Justin, finding his way in politics, co-hosted a charity event in 2003. Love bloomed fast. 2 years later, they married and started a family. 3 children followed: Xavier, Ella Grace, and Hadrian. Canadians watched them raise their kids in the spotlight, always smiling, always together. But behind those smiles, cracks were growing. The pressure on Justin was enormous. Being Prime Minister isn't just a job. It's a storm of travel, speeches, decisions, and eyes constantly watching. Sophie once joked, "Naturally, I got married to a workaholic." It was meant to be funny, but some thought it was a quiet cry for help. Rumors began to swirl, whispers of distance, of growing apart. Some pointed to Sophie's disappearing presence. She traveled less and stood beside him less. Others noticed tension, a joke that didn't land, a look that seemed colder than before. And then came the more painful stories, rumors of infidelity, names whispered like secrets. Was Justin too close to another member of his cabinet? Was that the final straw? No one confirmed it. But in 2023, the news finally broke. After 18 years of marriage, Justin and Sophie announced their separation in matching Instagram posts. After many meaningful and difficult conversations, the message read, "We have made the decision to separate." They had signed a legal agreement. They would still be a family. But the marriage, like his parents before him, was over. Once again, Canadians saw history repeat itself. A Trudeau Prime Minister, a wife who once lit up the world, a love story ending in the same quiet sadness, and again, 3 children caught in the center. Like Justin had once been when his own parents split apart. They said they would stay close. They would co-parent. They even vacationed together, trying to protect their children from the headlines. But the pattern was unmistakable. For the Trudeaus, the line between public life and private pain has always been razor thin. Justin had written in his memoir years before that his marriage was not perfect. He spoke honestly about their struggles. "We are honest with each other, even when it hurts," he wrote. Perhaps the hurt had simply become too much. And still, one must ask, is this the curse? Is it power that poisons love? Is it the constant glare of cameras? Or is it something older, something stitched into the fabric of the Trudeau name? Just like Margaret and Pierre, Justin and Sophie began with love, with hope, with shared dreams. And just like them, their love ended in heartbreak. Sophie, too, has spoken about mental health and the weight of public expectation. She has 2 books coming out, one about understanding love, the other for children. She remains a strong voice for wellness and self-awareness, but she is no longer Canada's First Lady in the traditional sense. Her official duties have ended. Her appearances now belong to her alone. And Justin? His popularity has sunk. Inflation, scandals, and public fatigue have weighed heavily on his government. He now stands at the helm of a country uncertain about its future, and as a man newly alone. So, what will become of the Trudeau name? That remains to be seen. But if one thing is certain, it's that power cannot shield the heart. Not from sorrow, not from loss, and certainly not from the quiet ache of a love that couldn't survive the spotlight. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to Empire Elegance and hit the notification bell for more powerful stories about the lives and legacies of the world's most influential figures. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.